What is going on, IF Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and today we're gonna talk about 3 biggest mistakes when doing the warrior diet. That's right, on Wednesday we talked about the 3 biggest mistakes when doing the 16-8, but this one's for the warrior diet. So you're definitely not gonna wanna miss this one. Stay tuned. Okay guys, I hold the warrior diet near and dear to my heart, as that is the protocol that I've adopted 5 years ago and still use to this day. I splash in the OMAD diet every now and then, but the warrior diet is my specific regimen. For all those IF warriors out there who do the warrior diet, I want to make sure that you're avoiding these mistakes. Now, without any further ado, let's jump right into it with number 1. Yes, and by this, I mean literally going by the book. No offense to Ori Hofmeckler, he has created a good structure, a good base for people to open their minds. This book came out in the 1990s, very late 1990s, but it opened a lot of people's minds to understand that there is another structure, another way that one can look at eating, as opposed to looking at it in abundance or eating a matched calorie amount. You can actually graze throughout the day and eat a big meal, a large meal at the end of the day. Now, here's the problem, however, with this book. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but what it actually asks you to do is to eat throughout the day, but eat very light and eat fruits and vegetables, and save that large meal for the end of the day. It was trying to mimic the Paleolithic time frame where people were just grazing on stuff and then eating a large meal before they went to sleep. But the problem is that many studies have already come out since the 1990s that shows that there's no advantage to simply just eating throughout the day lightly and then eating a massive meal at the end. The advantage is being shown in the body fat burning when you actually abstain from eating at all and don't raise your insulin. So I know a lot of people come to this channel and they're like, wait a second, I'm doing this warrior diet. What is he talking about? The thing is, I was inspired by the warrior diet. The warrior diet inspired me to think about food in a different way. People like Dr. Jason Fung, however, inspired me to dive deep into the research of what exactly is happening when you're fasting. And once you figure out what's actually happening and how to trigger certain things in your body via your hormones, you understand that there's an importance in not eating at all. That is the most heightened potency for you to have to ensure that you are letting your insulin drop. Because the magic happens, folks, when your insulin is at baseline. So although the warrior diet book has so many great ideas, has opened so many people's eyes to a different way of eating, I feel that in these times, after all the research that has come out since then, it'll be best for you to actually abstain from eating at all until your window opens. I hope that this hasn't offended anyone or made anyone feel weird about the protocol or confused, considering that it's also called the warrior diet, but it is a modified version of the warrior diet where it focuses simply on the timing and not on any specific food item. Because we're not looking at the diet itself, we're actually trying to work your hormones in your favor. Now let's go ahead and move on to number 2. Yes, being afraid of your eating window. 4 hours is not a long time, guys. It's a very short amount of time. And one thing that the OMAD diet, as you can do it strategically in different ways, some people do the OMAD diet where they literally just eat once a day and they don't really think about when they eat. They just think about eating one time every single day. Now, there is a beauty and a consistency in keeping everything within a specific time frame, as you know that every day you are fasting for an X amount of hours. For example, with the OMAD, if you're just deciding to do one meal a day, you can eat at 9 o'clock at night, but then the next day decide that you want to eat at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's not that much of a fasting time frame, so that you can burn more fat for a longer period of time. Now, if you do the warrior diet, it forces you into a 4-hour window. But like I mentioned, 4 hours isn't that much time. So you can get caught up in school, you can get caught up at work, you can get caught up in traffic, and then what do? You might look up and the time has ended and you've gone outside of your eating window. So what do you do at that point? Do you simply just not eat? You have two choices. You can decide to make it a 48-hour fast moment and just not eat, or you can just eat. That's right, guys, you still fasted a good amount of time that day. It's not gonna be the end of the world if you eat an hour after your eating window. Just try to keep it within your eating window, but if certain outside circumstances keep you from eating in your eating window, don't be afraid to just eat something. You can eat something and then go back into your fast and then break your fast at the normal time that you've already established for yourself. Don't go so crazy and overthink it when you come out of your eating window. Just look at it as a longer fasting day for you. It's not gonna hurt, trust me. You could also look at it in the other way. Some people look at these 4-hour eating window and think, well, I gotta eat in the beginning, I gotta see if I can eat in the middle, and I gotta see if I can eat at the end. If you eat in the beginning and eat in the middle and you're not hungry when it comes to the end and you've already gotten everything you needed, you don't have to eat just because it's the last hour to eat. Don't put yourself in that mentality. Have a more free spirit mentality when it comes to eating your food. Think to yourself, okay, I ate, I'm not hungry, it's my last hour, my last 30 minutes, my last 20 minutes, but I'm not gonna eat anything because I'm just not hungry. If you lose hunger, if you don't want to eat, just don't eat. You'll actually train your body more to organically want to stop eating. If you force feed yourself, your body will adjust and actually start to feel hungry later in the day because you're force feeding your body and you're sending the signals that you want to eat during this time. If you're not hungry anymore, don't eat. And if you've completely missed your 4 hours and you're 5 hours into your 4-hour eating window, go ahead and eat. It's up to you, but don't fear the clock so much. You want to remove the stress of thinking about having to think about food, which is actually one of the benefits of intermittent fasting. And I know with the warrior diet being that 4-hour window, it get a little tricky and a little messy for some people. So hopefully after this video, you guys are no longer stressing over your 4-hour eating window. And now let's go ahead and jump into the final mistake when doing the warrior diet. All right, guys, this mistake actually bounces perfectly off of the last mistake. If you want to be more accurate with landing inside of your eating window, if that's something that you want to do, this is something that you must do. If you plan your food, if you plan what you're going to eat for the day, you don't have to prepare it, but prepare it in your mind. Know what you're going to eat before your eating window opens. Because if you're just moseying around and you don't know what you're going to eat, it's going to be much, much harder for you to reach your goals. One, it makes it easy for you to habitually continue to miss your eating window and making your entire process super sloppy because you're consistently doing it all the time. And two, when you start getting really down there in reduction in body fat, you're gonna have to start focusing on your food a little bit more than in the beginning. You see, because the more fat you take out of your body, the harder it actually is to continue to take fat out of your body. And you don't want to overeat. That is a possibility. I know that you're doing intermittent fasting, but you still have the possibility of overeating. That's a big reason why a lot of people find success with intermittent fasting and then stop seeing success with intermittent fasting, because they don't really pay attention to what they're eating. Now, you don't have to go hyper focused on what you're eating, but you do have to have a ballpark idea of what you're actually consuming. And planning what you're going to eat or knowing what you're going to eat, all of those things will actually help you in being more successful when you get down to the very difficult range of getting into 12, into 10, into 9% body fat range. You don't have to think about what you're gonna eat all day, but at least know what you're going to eat before you break your fast. And there you have it, guys. Those are the 3 biggest mistakes that people are making when doing the warrior diet, following the book from back in 1990, being very critical of your eating window for breaking your fast and even for ending your fast, and not planning your meals ahead of time. I hope this video has helped you guys out when it comes to the warrior diet and cleans up your warrior diet protocol so that you can be as effective as possible and burn as much fat as you can to reach your goal. And of course, guys, I want to thank my patrons from my Patreon, and I'm going to put their names right up here. And of course, guys, as always, I'll see you on Wednesday for another FAQ. Peace!